I have been playing a lot of older games recently. Games that I played in my childhood and other games that I never did. And there's something different about their designs, something simpler. And that simplicity many times results in much better games at the end. Modern games are just too complex. They're trying to do too much at the same time. There's too many systems. There's melee combat and ranged combat and a crafting system and a horse riding system and a complicated inventory system and guilds and whatnot. Like, sometimes it's just too much. It's tiring, isn't it? And I don't say complex in a good way. Complex can be good. Actually, I love complex. But the complexity that enhances the core of the experience of the actual game that you're playing, right? And many times that's not what we see. We see a lot of supplementary systems that they are tangents to the core gameplay and they don't necessarily aggregate to the central pieces of the experience of the game. And sure, there were a lot of older games that are very complex, but I still think that their complexity was more focused, more to the purpose of the core experience. Because today, I think modern games they add complexity just because they can. Today, it's a lot easier to add those different systems and complexity than it was in the 1980s or 1990s. And that power can be a curse. And I think that curse harms more of AA and AAA games because those games have a lot more budget to deal with, right? So for them, it's easier with bigger team sizes and more resources to add those complex systems or, secondary mechanics, a lot of side quests and everything in between. And we are always expecting more from the next game. The next game cannot be simply another character, another story, another game for you to play. It has to be bigger, a bigger map, more options, more classes, more levels or whatever. There's always this trend to be more and to do more. So that builds complexity over the years that the games cannot simply ignore. That's design inflation. And I think we are way overdue with rethinking that strategy for the community and the whole gaming industry. Games are not getting any more sustainable over the years. Everything has to have 100 hours of gameplay. 50 hours? That's short. 10 hours? Get out of here. We're not even talking. But this video is not about the monetary side. There's a whole other discussion about the monetary side, the studio-wide discussion as well, and concerns about the implications of that. But I want to make this video about the design, to analyze the actual games that we are playing. Even single-player, narrative-driven games are expected to be highly replayable. Isn't that kind of crazy? They need to have a new game plus and several difficulty and different modes and the infamous and totally unnecessary multiplayer mode. Maybe that's not so common nowadays, but in the 2010 and onward, we saw a huge surge of single-player games getting multiplayer modes just to survive a little bit longer. They cannot be those compact experiences. They need to be something more. They need to be replayable, and you have to spend thousands and thousands of hours over the years in every single game. Even when a lot of those modes were completely unnecessary and to the detriment of the whole experience, making crappier games. And I think those games would be much better off using that budget and resource to enhance and polish the core experience. And as I said, this curse usually harms more AA and AAA games because of the budget and the opportunities, right? The options that a bigger budget gives you. Indie games, they necessarily have to work with constraints. And in design, we learn that constraint is king, that creativity thrives under constraints. The constraints in a project can be a great trophy to drive more creative solutions, be technical ones or creative ones. When you have so much money to spend on a game and in a market such as today, highly competitive, you feel the need to add everything that you can, otherwise you're not going to be competitive. It's like the AI bubble that we're living, or any bubble in history. It's a race. You feel the need to add everything that you can, or otherwise your competitors are going to do that and you are going to lose the race. And I mean, we cannot totally blame that on publishers because we as players, we demand more features. We demand more features at launch. We don't even wait for features to be added over time, with patches and updates and DLCs. Many times I saw a lot of players complaining about the lack of secondary features at launch in games, and that's kind of crazy, and we should really reflect on that. And we kind of need to stop that. There's always going to be games that are supposed to be infinitely replayable with a lot of choices, deep strategic gameplay, and that's great. But that doesn't have to be all games. We cannot expect that from all games, right? Because that will harm a lot of games that are not supposed to be like that. We need to normalize games that are shorter, tighter, that are trying to do one or two things at a time, that they don't need to do everything at once. That is good. That can be a more elegant design. And I believe that's the main reason why I'm having a great time playing older games like Diablo 1, Fallout 1, Epic Mickey, Sonic, because those games worked under clear constraints driving the design and gameplay, and many times that generated a lot more memorable experiences than probably what we see most today. Yes, today we have 100 times more games releasing every year, every month than we had in the past, so it's much harder to be memorable in times like this. But even in recent memory, many of the games that we consider the top ones or the most memorable ones are smaller games, are indie games. Indie games are having a lot of presence in shows and in awards, and that's a great thing. But that is also not a surprise. At the end of the day, it's an illusion to think that you can blow up your game and your design and simply have a better game at the end. That is not true. And I am kind of concerned about the next few years of the games industry because we have been hearing more and more about this bigger and bigger announcements. We have normalized game productions that take 10 years to make, Witcher 4 and Cyberpunk and naturally GTA 6, right? The bigger the better, sounds like. And then when a game takes a decade to be made, we can only expect one thing, that it's going to be the biggest thing of all time with hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay, hundreds of different cities for you to visit or things for you to do, and different mechanics and characters and everything, every time, all at once. It's hard to see, but underneath, those practices generate a lot of harm to the industry on the other front, like massive layoffs, crunch, investment bubbles, and so on. But if you think about it, most of the best games of all time in any list that you can find are from 10 years ago or more. Yeah, nostalgia kicks in hard, we all know that, nostalgia sells, but it's also more than that. It's the elegant design of having clear constraints driving your design and gameplay. And yeah, those constraints might not be a thing anymore in today's market. Unreal Engine allows you to create stunning landscapes and incredible realism, but with great power comes great responsibility. It's not just because you can do everything that you should do everything, because that has other implications to your game and to the market. Sometimes less is more, in life as in gaming. So yeah, I have been experiencing some of those good old classics, those classic games, and it's a great reminder of how good a simple design can be. You don't have to do everything at the same time in one playthrough. One game doesn't need to do everything. I think we're living in some crazy times where we have too much stimuli, too many people telling you what to do, what to think, what to say, and that is exhausting and annoying. Maybe, just maybe, let's do less. Let's spend less time on social media. Let's play less games. You don't have to play all of the games that release at launch, right? You even cannot do that. There's no time for you to play all of the games out there. So you need to pick and choose carefully. You couldn't, even if you tried. So don't even try. Enjoy a little bit more of the experience that you get from games. Like a good wine or a good film. If you can watch the same film 2 or 3 times, 2 hours each, and you can get a different experience every time. I know that I have watched Matrix more than like 15 or 20 times. then you can definitely do the same or even more with games. Games are not linear. Even linear games, they are not linear. They change every time that you play. Your moves are different, your combat is different, your character is a little bit different. You are a little bit different every time you play a game. So try to enjoy the experience a little bit more. There's so much passion that goes into a great game, so much back and forth with design and testing and a lot of different moving pieces. It's crazy. Don't go through a game like you're in a race. There is no race. Unless you're speedrunning, then there's definitely a race. But you see what I mean? Take your time. I know this conversation has got a tangent 5 minutes ago, but I think that's so important for us to discuss. The best games and the best experiences don't try to do everything at the same time, and they don't try to squeeze in every minute of your life. They have something to say. They want you to experience certain things that you only be able to do if you take your time. So yeah, a different video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, but I felt the need to come here and express this because I think that's a very important discussion. Maybe it's just me getting older. That is totally true. But I feel that this crazy technology world that we live in needs to be put in check a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I love technology. It's literally my job and my craft. But that is precisely why I'm saying that to you. Anyway, I would like to extend that invitation to you. Play older games. Take your time. Don't rush it. It's gonna be awkward at the beginning. It's a different interface, a different design, and a different concept. But take your time. Take it slowly, enjoy it. Try it again. After a while, I think it pays off immensely. And you might have a different view, a different perspective on this whole gaming thing. It's amazing. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, leave some love. Leave a comment below, share with your friends. I'd love to hear what you guys think. It's great to interact with folks actually watching the video. Anyway, that's it. Take care, and I'll catch you guys next time.